This is John Groves coming to you from my home studio. For today's Bible talk, I would like to return to the story I'm referring to as Samuel's Dilemma. You'll recall that Israel tribal leaders met with Samuel, chief judge, priest, and they expressed their desire for a king to rule over them, to fight their battles, and generally provide for their security and well-being. Against his better judgment, but after consulting with the Lord, Samuel agrees to select a king for them. Starting with today's Bible talk, I want to announce some changes in format. I am eliminating the companion art piece I have been reliant upon to help illustrate the Bible story I have selected for discussion. This leaves a little more time to interpret the story. At the same time, I have asked for a separate post on our church website where I can link the Bible talk to the art I would have included in my presentation. In addition, this change in format will allow me to delve more deeply into the story itself. In essence, I will be inviting you to identify with one or more of the characters in the story to experience more directly what the Bible may be advising us to consider. I especially would appreciate your feedback concerning the content of these Bible talks and any other thoughts you may have on the subject, including possible topics for discussion. With regard to Samuel's dilemma, I noted that sometimes it is difficult to divorce ourselves from the opinions and viewpoints we share with others. Samuel had to be reminded that even though the people of Israel had rejected his advice, this did not mean that the people had rejected him. In my case, I had to confront the utility of including a piece of art to illustrate these stories. You can be sure that I wanted the art to be part of the talks, and yet I was overruled. The experience allows me to feel far more intimately the conflict that Samuel experienced. A person accustomed to exercising authority does not anticipate the rejection of his or her counsel. Quite to the contrary, the expectation is that the advice will be followed. And when it is not followed, we may well feel personally rejected. In my case, I was able to see myself, as Samuel did in his, appreciating that he was not being rejected, even though his advice and counsel were. I know fundamentally that my efforts in this endeavor are appreciated. Now, place yourselves in the role of Samuel and ask if you have experienced something comparable. Consider having given advice to a close friend or family member that was not followed. Did you feel rejected? We need to recognize that there may well be differences of opinion about how to deal with a particular situation. Ultimately, we have to recognize the freedom of action others have to decide for themselves what they will do. Charles Fillmore, in a series of lessons dating from 1903 through 1918, opined that the demand for a king in this story represents a willingness to allow others to rule over you. The people manifesting this intention, Fillmore notes, have become mentally and spiritually lazy. The belief that a king will fight our battles and provide for our security and well-being, in essence, overlooks our personal responsibility to come to terms with our own circumstances. Fillmore notes that the people of Israel metaphysically represent our thoughts, which includes all ideas and feelings. Bowing to the authority of an external leader indicates that we are rejecting the leadership of a wise judge, our divine consciousness, in favor of a materially minded leader, in essence, our sense consciousness. Here, Fillmore makes his preferences quite clear. In closing, May we aspire to be like Samuel, exercising good judgment over our intentions to bring about our highest and best possible outcomes. Thank you.